everyone, thanks for tuning into today's only video. We're going to have a look at the weather next 10 to 14 days for today's only video. So day 10 will take us to the 31st of July, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and ECM ensembles. Maybe run to around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. And of course that gets us into the middle part of August. I'll get over that for you in a moment. Just say there was a 6 AM forecast today. That will be back tomorrow. And normal service now resumed. Okay, we're going to start off with the latest wind from that from earth.nullschool.net, showing that low pressure is still through the country at the moment, but a ridge building out in the Atlantic. Eventually, this low pressure, the trough will push off and will build the ridge in. Though this week is probably going to be a settling down week. By the end of the week, I think most of us will be back under drier, warmer conditions. Central temperature is currently sitting at 18.9, that's 2.9 degrees above the 61 to 99 average, as per visual to yesterday, to the 20th of July. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. The next couple of weeks, we're at Northampton today. So the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Northampton, starting off around average for the next week or so. In fact, the ensemble mean, which is the white line, stays around average all the way to the very end, gets to the 6th of August. However, that does mask quite a bit of scatter, especially later on in the ensemble graph. So we've got hotter ensemble members up here, including the GFS Z operational road, which is that thick green line. That becomes quite hot later on. Of course, got cooler ensemble members down there. So there's a lot of scatter, a lot of uncertainty for end of July, early August. Precipitation-wise, we've got some further showery bursts to come over the next few days. And then a drying trend as we move into the end of July and the beginning of August. Oops, what's that doing? So sorry everyone. Right, okay, temperature anomalies for the next 5 days to the 26th of July. A bit warmer than average in the north and nearer normal further south. Actually a bit cooler than average in parts of Wales and southwestern England. And precipitation anomalies next 7 days are drier than average in the west and a little bit wetter than average in the north and in the east. Right, let's start going for chart data then. So this is our latest UK Met Euro is looking for midnight on Thursday. High pressure building in from the Atlantic, bringing a lot of dry weather with it at the end of the week. Should be turning warmer as well. Into the beginning of the following week, starts to turn a bit showery as high pressure begins to slip southwards and lower pressure starts heading in from off the Atlantic. Icon again building up that ridge from the southwest at the end of the week and into the weekend, looking mainly dry and quite warm. That's how we're looking when we get to Monday 28th of July, as far as we get to Icon. Still a bit of a ridge from the southwest, but lower pressure is trying to come back in from the North Atlantic. The KMA showing high pressure again to the south, low pressure to the north as we're going into the start of next week, and then low pressure taking over more definitively as we head towards around days 10 and just beyond it. That gets 2nd of August. And then the GFS 6Z looks like that. So again, high pressures ridging in from the Atlantic as we're going through the end of the week and into the weekend. Into next week, high pressure south, low pressure to the north, classic setup. And out to day 10 and beyond, high pressure remains out to the southwest, Azores high, throwing up that ridge into the south with low pressure towards Iceland and Greenland. Eventually, perhaps a stronger push of high pressure from the Azores, although we finish up by the 6th of July back into those westerlies again. Well, it's shaping up to be quite a westerly start to August, perhaps. And then the GFS 6 by comparison looks like this. So again, high pressure south, low pressure to the north. Perhaps a bit strong with high pressure at the weekend. Next week, lower pressure deepens and moves in around days 8, 9 and 10. That brings some cooler, showery conditions before the high pressure again reasserts its authority in the extended And, well, the GFS is suggesting that summer is not done. We've still got more to go. That's the 4th of August under a nice extension from the Azores high there. That would be mostly dry, and I would have thought pretty warm as well. Probably hot. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much everyone for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all about videos and content. And don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids and get them to subscribe too. Thanks so much everyone for doing that. Okay, GM again with the ridge from the Azores through Thursday and Friday into next weekend. High pressure south, low pressure to the north, and then up to day 10. Well, again, a little bit showery. High pressure south, low pressure up to the north there. And then the ECM looks like this, rounding it all off with high pressure again, trying to ridge in from southwest, lower pressure coming in over the top of it. That keeps northern areas in particular quite mixed. Further south there will be a lot of dry weather. And then around day 10 and beyond, where high pressure from the Azores starts to assert its authority and builds more strongly there from the south and from the southwest. So summer returns with both the GFS and the ECM through that first week of August. Courtesy of the Azores High. Based on the precipitation forecast based on the ECM run from tobest.com up to day 10. So further showers to come over the next 2 or 3 days, gradually drying out as we get into the weekend next week by day 10, mostly dry. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today. For day 10 from the Icelandic Met Office gets us to the 31st of July. 31 members of the ECM ensembles with a trough of flow moving down the North Sea and a ridge out in the Atlantic. So that brings the wind in to a northwesterly, a showery and quite cool direction, with 20, a minority option, building in high pressure from the Azores rather more strongly there. And then in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. It'll get us to the 5th of August. 19 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure north-northeast, high pressure to the west. Again, that brings in a northwesterly flow. We've got 16 with high pressure ridging up from the Azores into northern Europe, mostly dry, you would have thought with that. And a further 16 with high pressure right over top of the country. So there's a range of options going on there. At 2 weeks out, it looks like the majority option really is rather cool and showering. Might be a little bit more settled than that at day 10. At 2 weeks out, though, it looks like high pressure probably asserting its authority. Though there's a range of options, most of them are looking quite ridgy, I think. So go through the first week of August, high pressure looks like it's set to return. That seems to be the trend, I think, today. Right, CFS finally beats 500 millibar high tonics, break it down to week periods. The first week period takes from the 21st to the 27th of July. The next week with high pressure building in from the west, low pressure through the continent, and wind flow doing something a bit like that. Week 2 will be the 28th of July to the 3rd of August. Again, quite deep low pressure in the North Atlantic and close to Scandinavia. High pressure, Azores high, pulled a little bit away from us. Again, winds in from the west-northwest direction. That's rather cool and showery into the opening days of August. That goes on into week 3, actually, which is before to the 10th of August. Low pressure through there, high pressure through there. And again, that brings the wind in to a northwesterly, a little bit cool and showery. It's not till week 4, which is the 11th, 17th of August, but we see signs of a change if higher pressure begins to start ridging up from the southwest then. So that could bring something a little bit drier. But of course, it's long way off. Extended range unreliable, so we'll have to wait and see. Okay, we're done. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much everyone for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos and content. Don't forget to tell friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe too. Thanks so much everyone for doing that. Tomorrow we're going to have a 6 AM UK weather forecast. We'll have the extended European outlook, and there'll be a 10 to 14 day as well, of course. You enjoy the rest of your Monday evening, and for this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.